You know that feeling when you're scrolling through endless speaker options, trying to picture how they'll actually sound in your living room, and you keep wondering if you're about to drop a good chunk of cash on something that will just sit there looking nice but never really move you? I've been there, and that hesitation is exactly why I wanted to dig into the KEF R6 Meta before I hit buy. Link is in the description if you want to check the product details on Amazon. What makes the decision so tricky is that high-end bookshelf speakers promise immersive sound, but the reality often ends up being a little underwhelming unless you've done your homework. You don't want to end up with a pair that sounds good on paper but ends up getting lost behind a couch or a wall, or you might find yourself constantly tweaking the placement and still not getting the punch you expected. The R6 Meta is marketed as a step up from the regular R6, with KEF's 12th generation Uni-Q driver array and something they call Meta Material Absorption (MAT) that supposedly soaks up 99% of unwanted sound. The question is whether those claims translate into a noticeable difference in a typical home setting. First off, the R6 Meta keeps the familiar KEF Silhouette A compact, floor-standing shape that can also sit on a sturdy bookshelf so you're not forced to clear a huge wall space. The Walnut finish, which is the version I'm focusing on, adds a warm, natural look that blends well with both modern and more traditional interiors. That visual appeal is more than just vanity. A speaker that fits the room's aesthetic is less likely to become an eyesore you're tempted to replace later. The unit's dimensions mean you can place it about a foot away from the sidewall without major bass boom or harsh reflections, something that many larger floor-standing models struggle with. When it comes to movie night, the Uni-Q driver array, essentially a single tweeter sitting in the middle of a concentric mid-bass cone, creates a point source that spreads sound more evenly across the listening area. In practice, I found that dialogue stayed clear even at low volumes, and the surround-like feel in the mid-range made action sequences feel more three-dimensional. The Meta Material Absorption layer on the back of the driver does its job by reducing rear-radiated sound, which means there's less coloration bouncing off the wall behind you. In a room with hard surfaces, that translates to a tighter soundstage and fewer muddy moments during fast-moving scenes. For music, the picture is a bit more nuanced. The R6 Meta covers roughly 65 Hz to 28 kHz, so you get a decent low-end extension for a bookshelf speaker, but you'll still notice that the deepest notes of a double bass or a pipe organ roll off a little sooner than a dedicated subwoofer would. What you do get is an impressively detailed mid-range that lets acoustic guitars, vocalists, and piano tones sit right in front of you, almost as if the performer were on stage. The MAT layer helps keep the room tone clean, so you can hear subtle reverb tails without them turning into a wash of noise. In a well-treated listening nook, the R6 Meta can deliver a surprisingly immersive experience that rivals larger floor-standing pairs from the same brand. Who should consider these speakers? If you're an audiophile who appreciates precision and wants a speaker that can double as a piece of furniture, the R6 Meta fits nicely. It shines in medium-sized rooms, say, a 12 to 15-foot rectangular space where you can give it at least a couple of feet of breathing room on each side and a modest distance from the back wall. It also works well if you already have a decent AV receiver that can deliver a clean 100 watt per channel output, because the Uni-Q design benefits from a little headroom to keep the tweeter controlled. The walnut finish is perfect for anyone who wants a warm wood tone that won't clash with a living room palette of natural materials. On the flip side, if you're looking to fill a large, open-plan living area or a home theater with a dedicated subwoofer, you might feel the R6 Meta falling short on low-frequency impact. Its bass is tight and controlled, but it won't provide the visceral thump that a pair of floor-standing speakers or a separate sub can deliver. Likewise, if you're on a tight budget, these are premium speakers, and the price reflects that. There are other KEF models, such as the Q350, that can give you decent performance at a lower entry point, albeit without the MAT technology and the refined walnut veneer. Let's talk practicality. One of the biggest strengths of the R6 Meta is how forgiving it is about placement. Because the driver array behaves like a point source, you can tilt the speaker slightly upward to aim at the listening spot, and you won't lose coherence. The back-absorbing material also means you can place the speaker within a foot of the wall without the dreaded boominess that many bookshelf speakers exhibit when backed too closely. In a real-world setup, I found that even a modest sofa position 3 feet away delivered a balanced soundstage, with left-right